What's up, y'all? This is Hussein Nasser from IGM3, where we're just software engineering by example. Welcome to episode 1 of JavaScript by example, level 2. In this series, we are building the Space Invader game from scratch. We discussed the design and the requirement and what we're trying to build actually in episode 0, so I'm not going to go through that. But in this episode, we will build the battlefield, this canvas of things, all right, just the where we draw things essentially, and then we will draw this little puppy, the spice ship. How about we just jump into the code and then start working? How about that, guys? Okay, so what do you need to get started? You need Visual Studio Code. Okay, it's the best editor out there because you need to write your code somewhere, guys, right? Visual Studio Code is a free. You can go there and download it. Just type Visual Studio Code literally in Google and then download it for free. It works on Windows, it works on Linux, it works on Mac, and it works with almost any scripting language out there. Okay, it's really powerful. Okay, so we'll work naturally with JavaScript and HTML. So that's what we're gonna do. The second thing you need is a web server. You need to make your laptop, your PC, whatever you're coding at, as a web server in order to start testing your application. I guess you can double click that HTML file. I don't like to do that. Just do this professionally, guys. Let's build things so you can host it, so you can consume it for your phone, test the application for your phone, like build a network, right, essentially. And I'm gonna reference the video on how to set up a web server to serve your static files, which is HTML and all that stuff. Okay, this is the video there. So we're gonna use Node.js. It's very simple things, literally one line of code and you're done. Okay, with that said, let's just jump into coding. I'm gonna create a new project, file open. A project is essentially a folder. That's what I like about Visual Studio Code. What we do is essentially go to any place. I have like a folder here called JavaScript Playground. I'm gonna create a new folder. I'm gonna call it Space Invader. Right? It's a brand new folder, which will turn into my project essentially. Start writing code. The first thing I want to do is I create an HTML file. This is where my code will go, right? So you click on this button, right? New file, and then you literally name it index.html. Basic stuff, guys. And then when you do that, you can write the classic HTML thing, right? Like HTML and then all that stuff, body, right? But Visual Studio Code gives you a very nice thing where you can just type HTML5 and then follows with a tab, and then it will just add all this stuff for you, right? So you don't have to think about it. Instead of giving a title as a document, we're gonna call it Space Invader Game, right? We're building this game. And then let's test our application. Let's just add a header here, Space Invader, and then very simple stuff. And then my page is ready. Let's just spin up a web server so we can just change, refresh. Let's just make sure it works. If you go to terminal, right, then you click on new terminal, that will open literally a terminal or a command prompt in Windows. Okay, where you can start typing code. And what we write is http-server and then followed by the dot. Don't forget the dot, guys. There's a dot after that. This will make your folder into a web server. It will serve whatever files there as a server, okay? And then it will listen to a port. So if you do that, and to do that, you have to install Node.js and do the http server/g install. I forgot. It's a 3-minute video. Just follow it. You'll be ready for this video. Cool. Then when you do that, you'll get this puppy. Okay, HTTP 10.7.7.1 when you go to this page, you'll be served this file. Coolish. Let's do that, guys. When I do that, HTTP localhost 8080. Localhost is basically your local machine. If you hit enter, what you will get is Space Invader, this is what we wrote. Okay, change it up, save, go here, refresh, and that's the cycle we want to be in. Refresh, change, refresh. Okay, cool, guys. Okay, cool. Remove that. We will no longer need this anymore. Close it, but the web server will remain running. So the next thing we need to do is to create my canvas. Okay. The canvas is an element that is in HTML5. right? And then you can start using a lot of browsers start supporting it. That will be our art canvas where we start writing and drawing things, and we erasing and do all this stuff on this canvas, right? And then when we do a canvas, I'm gonna make my canvas full screen. By default it's not, right? So if I make canvas, let's just give my canvas a color, okay? And for that we're gonna use CSS. So literally go to your head, right? And then add a style. When you do a style, I'm gonna tell CSS, hey CSS, if you find a canvas doesn't have a name or anything, any canvas you find out there, I think you can only have one, okay? Make it, I don't know, green. Let's do that, okay? And then you go background green, okay? Let's just start with that, okay? Then we go there, refresh, we have a green canvas. And you notice that my canvas is not full screen, it's just like default values, right? I want to make it full screen. What do? Simple. Full screen, width, 100%, the height, 100%, right? Well, sounds simple. The width is stretch it for the page. Height, stretch it for the page. Go back, refresh. What? It's not full screen though, right? It is, the width is almost there, but this height is because the actual height of the page is not really 100%. In order to do that, what you do is you also tell, hey CSS, oh, by the way, the page and the body also make them height 100%. That's just a stupid reason. I have no idea why. But you have to tell the body, says like, hey, I want to stretch this even more. Make the body 100% because the body is not 100% for some reason. Okay. So we refresh and then now we're 100%. Okay. How about these ugly ass edges, guys? This is called the margin. And the margin of the body is like giving you some padding. So what we're going to do is just like, hey, I don't want no margin, man. Make margin 0. Okay, 0 margin. Go back, refresh. That's much like it, guys. That is more like it. I love it a lot. Okay, my canvas is ready, right? Now we start sketching, baby. Let's start sketching. Okay, JavaScript code. What do you need to write JavaScript code? We need the script tag. If you do script tag, you can write JavaScript code here. And here's what the interesting part. Remember when, in order to capture an element in JavaScript, remember in level 1, guys, we used to like give it an ID, right? And then we do document or get element by ID and then test and then store this in a let variable, right? That works. We can capture the element this way, but I'm gonna be fancier because this is level 2, okay? Introduce more fancy stuff, okay? Since canvas is the only canvas element in this, you can use something else. You can use something called, this is the newer version of capturing elements. It's called query selector, okay? And if you tell your query selector, says, hey, give me the first canvas element you find, it will tell you, it will give you the canvas element. Okay, here's another thing we will learn. See, guys, we're building stuff and we're learning in the process. Okay, let, you know, guys, when we learn let in level 1, okay, var is almost, don't ever use it. It's just don't ever try to use it, right? Just like let, and the new one is called const. Let is when you expect your variable to be overwritten, right? Especially in a loop, right? You can do like canvas equal whatever. You can do something else, right? It will allow you to override your variable. But since my variable will always remain the same, I don't want people to change it, we're gonna use const, okay? And you're gonna notice me in all my tutorial, I always almost use const in every single thing. It protects your code, kind of the thing, okay? If someone else references your code and they start to changing your code, they will get an error, okay? So you want to protect that. Unless you want your variable like in a loop, you cannot use const because you can constantly changing your variable, right? Otherwise, use let, okay? Const and let, okay? Nothing else, okay? Const, convest, so we know const, okay? And what do we want to do? What we want to do here is I'm gonna start drawing, guys. I want to draw my spaceship. How do I draw my spaceship? This canvas is what we're gonna use this to draw something. And you can draw 3D, you can draw 2D, you can draw pretty much a lot of stuff, right? But I am interested only on the 2D context, right? So what you do is like, I'm gonna create a context, right? Context, and then I'm gonna do canvas.get context, and then I'm only interested in the 2D because this game is 2D, right? I don't want a 3D or anything else. I have context. This is what you're gonna use to draw anything. This is pretty much the canvas will be used for the measurement, the width and the height, right? But the context is there. It's right there, guys. Okay, so we have canvas, we have the context. How about have you noticed, guys, when I type this, it will also tell you? That's pretty cool, right? This is Visual Studio Code. It actually auto-complete this thing. Okay, guys, all right. So what we're gonna do here is there's no code here. We didn't do anything, right? But let's draw a rectangle, right? And to draw a rectangle, we use a method called fill rect. And what does this fill rect does is it takes x, which is where do you want to start me drawing in the x axis, y, sorry about that, guys, y, okay, x and y, start drawing there, and then width and height. Very simple. Like this is the width of the rectangle, this is the height of the rectangle. So 4 variables. Okay, and I'm going to start explaining to you guys that I'm going to draw in the 0, 0 position, which is the trying to use directions here, west, northwest, right? Since I came to the US, everybody's using directions. Like, oh, can you look at the northeast, like the northeast or the southern, like the southwest? I have no idea the sense of direction, but I started using and learning it now. Okay, so in your northwest, right? 0, 0 is the northwest. Okay, and the width of the rectangle is 10, 10. Okay, 10 width. This is almost a square. Okay, so let's do that. Back, refresh, and you can see that it started from the northwest, 0, 0, 10, and 10. Okay. So what happened here is this is the 0 position. I hope you can see my voice. This is the 0 axis, and the whole thing is the x axis, and that's the y axis. So if I change this to 100x, the rectangle should be drawn somewhere here, okay? But it's still at this, you notice, right? The square is now here, okay? Pretty coolish stuff, guys. Pretty coolish stuff, okay? And then if you do like 100, 100, it will be somewhere in the middle here, okay? Now, what I want to do is actually, I want this to resemble the spaceship, so it's like a little fatter, right? So what I want to do is the height is a little slimmer, 5, and how about 20 as the width, okay? So let's try that. That's more like it. We're gonna draw this like the actual cannon or whatever this thing is. All right, we're gonna play with that a little bit, but it's not hard, guys. As you can see, it draw as black for some reason, and that's the default color for the rect. Okay, and how do we change the color? Very simple, guys. You can do context dot fill. You're filling something, right? What's the style of your filling? Okay, I'm gonna fill it with, let's say, green. But now it won't, obviously we're not gonna see anything, right? Because the background is green. But now I'm gonna change the background to black. So now it is more like this, kinda, right, guys? It is kinda like that. Sweet, okay? What else we want to do? What we want to do, guys, here is like, instead of just having it in the 100, like just hard coding numbers, random numbers here, what I'm going to do here is I wanted this to be always in the middle of the screen, okay? And to do that is the x-axis will be the canvas, if you think about it, dot width, right? This is my canvas, dot width, which is whole this, right? The whole thing, half it, and I want my stuff to draw there, okay? Let's refresh. And I don't see anything here because I forgot to divide it by 2, okay? So if I do now refresh, I can see that the spaceship is drawing in the middle, but it is not quite center though, and the reason is it starts drawing in the center, but it is not literally in the center. All right, so what do we now do? I don't know why I switched to British there. Okay, you take it the width by 2, and then you take out half the spaceship width, which is 10, right? In order to make it in the middle, right? So what you do there is and that's more like it in the center. Let's do the context. Let's do the height. Okay, I want this to be down in the bottom, right? I want this to draw in the bottom of the screen, just like that. All right, and to do that is, you guessed it, guys, context.height, right? And then literally context.height, right? But if I refresh this, I don't see anything, and the reason is actually drawn right on the height, right? But it's not enough. I want to -5. Start drawing before that, right? And 5 is actually the height of the spaceship. Okay, and if we refresh, oh, not context. I'm sorry, guys. It's canvas.height. That's why I didn't see height. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. If you do that, -5, now you can see it here. But I don't want it to be like dead on the bottom. I want it just like a little bit up. So I don't know. You just start subtracting some other numbers like 20. Okay. Then we do that. Refresh. Okay. And that's more like it, guys. That's it for episode 1. We're going to start building more cool stuff, guys. Okay, so what we build is very basic. We learned about the canvas. We learned about how to build rectangles. You can run with this stuff, guys. You can run with it. The code is available in the description below. I'm going to see you in the next one. You guys stay awesome.